homecoming week for Southern Illinois, and why not welcome in an old rival? Northern Iowa comes in on Saturday. It's the first meeting between these two teams since 2022. Alongside the coach Pat Poore, Mike Trude, I am Luke Martin. Let's talk about this UNI football team. And Mike, this is a UNI program that the Salukis haven't seen since 2022, and you want to talk about entertaining games. The last four meetings have all been decided by one possession, two of them by 1 point, the slimmest of all margins.
And people remember, if they were here, the last home game several years ago, it came down to the final play of the game. Jay Jones caught a last-ditch bomb right in the corner about the 3-yard line and tried to stretch his 6'4" frame across the goal line, and half the stadium thought he got in, the other half of the stadium wasn't sure. It went to a long review, and finally he was ruled that he came up a little bit short, and Northern Iowa won the game. But that's a typical game through all the years between these two teams. It comes down to a few key plays right at the end of the game.
Pat, really, it starts with their defense. Their defense is really strong, and two key guys on that defense, Ryan Crandall, their leading tackler, and, of course, Tucker Langenberg. Those are two key guys that have 60-plus tackles on the year.
Yeah, really impressed with that whole linebacker crew. I mean, they do things fundamentally well, really good tacklers. They're athletic, and they have one of those systems defensively where they're plugging in that safety also, and like I said, that to me, that's their bell cow on that side of the ball, is that linebacker crew.
Their defense has given their offense a chance, Mike. When you look at their three Valley games, they held North Dakota, who we just saw put up 28 in the first half this past weekend. Just the one offensive score. They had a defensive touchdown to lead that game 14-0. They hung around at Northern Iowa. This defense is giving the Northern Iowa offense opportunities to get back into games.
They are. Another guy that is really playing well on their D-line is Ostrowski. He's a transfer that came in. He leads them in sacks, leads them in tackles for loss, and he plays that edge rusher, which is a position that's given the Salukis some issues the last several weeks. Now, North Dakota State, talking maybe a little bit different animal, but Ostrowski's going to be a guy that the Saluki offensive line and tight ends are going to have to pay special attention to. It's a defense that seems to be getting better with each game, and if their offense can ever catch up, they can be a more dangerous team than they are.
You look at this UNI offense, Coach Todd Stepsis, who takes over. He's in his first season. He was very transparent with us earlier in the week when we caught up with him on our podcast. He said, Coach Poore, the three phases that you need to be strong to be a good football team, he said his offense has been, quote, non-existent to this point in the year. They haven't scored more than 7 points in a quarter since their opener against Butler. But you've watched them on film. You said they're about 1 or 2 plays away from that really flipping.
Yeah, it's kind of like what he said. They're just like somebody make a play. And when you look at them and break them down, personnel-wise, I mean, they're good up front. Got experience there. The quarterback is playing at a pretty high rate. They've got capable receivers, guys that, like, on film have made some plays. And I think the big thing is you've got to make them beat you from the quarterback spot. They're throwing it for like just shy of 200 a game. They're rushing it for just a little over 100. So they have that balance there, and their offensive scheme is a lot like what we've seen the past 2, 3, 4 weeks. And, this can't be the week that they make that play and get it going.
Yeah, Mike, talking about it, building off of what Coach Poore just said, it's been a Saluki defense that has struggled to stop the run. The only team they've held to under 100 yards this year was Thomas More, the non-D1, to start off the year. This has been a UNI team that has just struggled to really run the football consistently. But you look at their numbers, Coach Todd Stepsis wants to make that a priority.
Yeah, he does. And Babe Bowie's not a bad runner, and he's 5'10", over 200 pounds. So he's got the frame to get it done. Jackson, a transfer they got in, is a good. He actually leads them in yards per carry. They've got capable backs. Again, they've got a capable line. Yet this team's only scored 11 touchdowns all year and only 2 rushing touchdowns all year long. And that's not a mixture for success. And as Coach Steps has told us, somebody's got to make a play when it counts. And their offensive prowess in the red zone has just been poor. They just can't get touchdowns, and they get behind in games where kicking field goals doesn't do them any good.
Look, and part of it, too, is they're really struggling with injuries as well. The Salukis know a lot about that after going through last year. 5 wide receivers have had season-ending injuries. No doubt that's affected them on the offensive side of the ball. But look, Coach Poor, it's a very important game. There's no need to really say more than that from a Saluki perspective. What's it going to take to find a way to get a win against Northern Iowa on Saturday?
Well, I think just responding to what's not been good the last 2 weeks and really coming in sync, put all 3 phases together, and like I said, I think defensively we've got to create some uncomfortableness for the quarterback, get them out of any kind of rhythm, comfort zone, and offensively just get back in sync and just start putting plays together, have rhythm, and basically a lot of it comes down to just we got to want this one more than they want it.
Well, it's going to be an important one on Saturday, tomorrow afternoon. Kickoff will be at 2 o'clock, which means our pregame coverage on Saluki Radio will begin at 1. For my partners, the Coach Pat Poor, Mike Trude, I am Luke Martin. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Saluki Nation, go Dogs.